So, good afternoon, everyone. This is Terry from Jensen, and once again, welcome to our broadcast. And today's topic will be converting Vita Classic to Vita 3D shades with MiYO. So, we've talked about this in the past, and a lot of us are getting a lot of 3D shades, and I want to make sure that maybe I can dispel some myths right here. So, we see our 3D guide here, and our Vita, well, it shows my age, Vita Lumen, but it's the Vita Classic, and of course I cut the necks off my teeth so that the doctors can't pick the wrong shade, hopefully, and it makes it a lot easier. Okay, so we all know that the Vita guide has 16 different shades, as shown here, the A1 through the D4, and that the Vita 3D has 29 shades. And while I learned a lot on these are the ones we're going to have to use quite a bit, and they actually match teeth a lot better. So, what I did, and I want to give a shout out to a friend that has helped me a lot, and that is Karsten Klimek. And I hope I didn't mispronounce his name too bad there at the end, but Karsten came out with a shade guide, and I worked on it. And you know, there's so many 3D conversions floating around out there, and the one I have is one that Karsten had been working on, and I actually modified it a little bit to suit my needs, because we all have different perceptions of color somewhat. So this is the one, and I say unofficial version because this is not something from Jensen. This is something that's floating around. Like I said, Karsten worked on it. I've worked on it. And this is an easy way to get from the Vita Classic to the 3D. So if you look at this chart, and this will be on the internet, on Facebook after we finish here, so in case you want to revisit this. What we start off with is a base shade, and what we want to do is pick something from the Vita Classic Shade Guide, or the Vita Lumen if you have one as old as mine. So what I said here is unshaded zirconia. These are all white zirconias, and then of course a B1 in the Classic, a B1 in the Classic, and you see here these are, I have them in bold because this is what you need to start off with to be able to add these MiYO colors and end up with your final shade. Very easy to do, not always so easy to start off with your base shade. Sometimes you center your zirconia, and your zirconia comes out just the way you want to. It comes out your perfect B1, but even the pre-shaded zirconias, you know, sometimes those shades are off a little bit. So you have to get back to this basic shade, or else you're going to have to modify the amount of colors and which colors you add to get your final shade. But pretty much this is it, all the way from the bleach shades through your 1 series, your 2 series, your 3 series, your 4 series, and your 5 series. And all you have to do is add these to your base shade. Sounds interesting. Sounds easy. And it is pretty much easy, but I want you to pay attention because some of these shades aren't in your MiYO basic kit. So if we look at this, we have shade A and smoke, and shade B and shade C. Okay, slate's one we've added in here. We have smoke, and slate and smoke are in the basic tooth kit right now. Okay, a little bit of fissures in there also. But when we look at this, raspberry is in the pink kit. And also raspberry here. And also midnight. Trans midnight is in your pink kit or your tissue kit. And thistle is in your tissue kit. Now these are all very, very interesting because thistle takes you almost immediately to a 4M1 and a 5M1. And we all know and appreciate the 4M1 and the 5M1 because they're kind of grayish dark shades, as we can see right here. 4M1 and 5M1. Very, very dark shades. So I'm going to put this against a white background so you can see it a little bit easier. But let's take a look at some of these that I've taken, and I did my shade tabs just like I did my shade tabs here. So basically we're going to be using A, B, C, D, And let me make this a little bit bigger so it's easier to use. So for a lot of these, we'll be using the A, B, C, and D. Some of them will be using the Clementine. Some of them we're going to be using the Smoke. And the Smoke is the purple gray that is right here. And then we're going to be using also Thistle for the 4M1 and 5M1. It's kind of a grayish, blackish brown. We're going to be using the Midnight, which is a bluish one right here. And we'll be using some of the Raspberry. So these are for the pink kit. And of course you saw the tooth kit. So let's take a look at these and see how close they come. So I started off with my usual shade tabs that you've seen me use before, where I take it and I take unshaded zirconia, and I've got these loosely stuck on here with hot glue, and I hope they don't embarrass me and come off. But what I did was I started with the OM1, and if we look right here, of course the OM1 looks a lot darker, but I'm under intense light. So it's interesting because in the daylight corrected light that I had at my bench, it looks just the same. OM2, well, that looks a little bit better. Oh, I know why, because I have it upside down. Okay, I embarrassed myself. Let's take OM1 and put it back here and start over again. So there's OM1. If you're looking at the side that has been shaded, it works a lot better. So OM1 is very, very close. If you know what the blue is, that's really ultra fine point Sharpie, so in case I drop these, which can happen to anyone, then I know where to put them back. So this is OM2, very, very close for your bleach shades. OM3, and this is straight from the sheet that Karsten started out with, and I put some changes to it a little bit. And again, it's whatever works for you. So let's take a look at the 1M1, and you can see these are very, very close in their approximation. And of course the 1M2, and 2L 1.5, 2L 2.5, and I'm not going to bore you with all these, but here we have a 2M1 and a 2M2. So depending upon how close I get this in the same angle as this, they match really, really closely, and it's very, very easy to accomplish this with these shades. But what about some of the tough ones? Well, people say to me, yeah, but what about a 4M1 and what about a 5M1? They're impossible to get. Well, no, they're not, because if you use some of the components of our kit, they're actually quite easy. And what I found is you can do it two ways with a 4M1. So let me look at the 4M1 right here. Actually, I pulled out the wrong one. 4M. Here is a 4M1, and you can see this is what I started off with here. And for 4M1, I started off with a C1, and it's very, very close. So this is C1 right here, and then this is the 4M1. And if this was the exact same height, this is a little higher because of being mounted on the shade tab holder, you would see that it's very, very close, extremely close, probably about 98, 99 points out of 100. And then if we look at the 5M1, 5M1's an ugly color, but some people just got to match it. So let's look at this 5M1. And you can see very, very close to the 5M1. And for the 5M1, we started off with an A3. So A3, 5M1. So you can do this with a MiYO, and you can still get depth and translucency and everything you need to make these things look good. So if you want to validate this for yourself, it's easily enough done. We've done it in the past, You've seen me do it, and all it takes is getting out your palette and adding the colors to get your appropriate final color. So let me see here what we got. Put my shade tabs back, I apologize. But this is very, very close. Okay. Except for the one that I flipped over in the beginning. My bad. So let's say, there's my palette. I'm going to make it small so you can see it. Well, maybe not that small. Okay, so if you want to match, say, for example, we're looking at this guide right here. You want to match a 3M2. Well, we're going to start off with a D3 and add shade D. So a D3. We're going to do what we always do, which is add a little paste glaze. Very parallel, like we always talk about. Nice even coat. And again, we should be able to add the D shade, which I have up here. I'll get a little bit of it. And we're trying to reach a 3M2. I'll pull that out. So try to hold it in the same plane, and you see that our D is automatically starting to match it. Yep. It's just a little bit more intense than a D3. So let's take something that's a little harder. Put those down. What about if I pick a 5M ugly? 3. So there's a 5M3. We look at the chart. A4 with clementine and a little bit of A. So A4. Pardon me for fumbling this. We're going to add the paste glaze again. Okay. And now we're going to get a little bit of the A shade out. And I'll put that out. Okay, so I'm just going to make it just a little bit wetter so it'll flow easier. So that's our A shade. Clean the brush. As I said before, it is 90% clementine. So let me get some clementine out. This is kind of a tangerine with a little bit of walnut brown color added to it. Now these were mixed earlier, a couple hours ago. So don't think I haven't mixed them today. I have mixed them today. I always mix them at least once a day. Okay, so now I'm going to fluff up my clementine a little bit to where it'll flow easy. I get it to where it jiggles. Okay, we can see a little bounce in it right now. So let me try to get these in the same plane. So, remember I say finesse, get it as close to the same angle. Let's add a little A shade to it, like I said. And I have a lot of Merlot on my knuckle. Okay, so the clementine's going to give us that kind of orangish, brownish hue. And can you see where it's coming up there? So in a matter of less than a minute, we're right where we need to be. Now, I haven't pulled it down all the way, but you get the idea. And of course we can lower the value. But there you go. So it's really quite easy. It looks like it's layered. It has a nice translucent look to it. And within a matter of less than a minute, you're able to achieve the desired shade that you want to have. So very, very easy. Just remember to put the paste glaze down first on the teeth. It'll make your life a lot easier. And a couple of words to you. Some of these shading liquids, you're going to find out that some of your colors are going to be off. You're not going to start off with a perfect A1 or B2 or A3 or something like that. And just like I've said in the past, and I wish I got royalties from this company, but I don't. And I would tell you, if you get your color wheel, it's going to make your life a lot easier, because a lot of my shade tabs, some of my shading liquids, are way out of date by over 2 years. So they turned out a little bit of orange, more orange than I wanted. So if I look at my complementary color to the orange, where they were going orange, I look down here and it's blue. Well, cobalt is a blue, and this is cobalt right here. But I have to tell you, for a lot of the blues, cobalt might be intense because it has a lot of the bluish black in it. And what I found is actually our trans midnight is exactly what we want, because a lot of times we want either blue or a violet blue to knock out any orange. And that trans midnight is a godsend. It will make your life a lot easier. But the cobalt's not, you don't want to forget that, because that works well. And always remember, if you're trying to lower the value in some of these things, like I have thistle for adding it, and if the thistle alone does not make it dark enough, you can always go with this slate right here, and that really will help bail you out and lower the value without adding any influence, because it's not a hue, it's just a value. It's basically somewhere between black and white, a gray, and it does a really, really good job. So I hope this helped out somewhat. Again, I'm going to put the sheet up here that I had before so you can take a look at it, and this will be something that hopefully will work for you. Again, thank you, Karsten. I really appreciate the time that you've spent with me, and working on this together has worked out to our benefit and hopefully to technicians' benefits. But this is what seems to work pretty darn well, assuming that you can start off with your base shade. And if not, again, remember, don't forget your color wheel. This thing really helps out. You can get them on Amazon, you can get them at art supply stores. It gives you all kinds of combinations of what you'll get when you add things together. It makes your life one heck of a lot easier. Again, it's like a computer for color. So, if you still have questions, call our technical department at 800-528-5531 for further assistance. Make sure to follow Jensen Dental on Facebook and Instagram so you can be updated every time we go live. And you can also visit jensendental.com/MiYO to learn more about MiYO. Thanks for watching today, and please click the follow button to get notifications of future MiYO education, tips, and tricks. And next week, we're probably going to be coming out with one that's going to be on applying structure, how to mix structure and apply it easily and quickly. And I think that'll be something you might want to see. I'm probably going to do it as a video so I can condense it, because that's a really time-consuming thing if I do live. And what I can do is video myself doing it, clip it together so there's no wasted time, and I can go through all the necessary things you'll see to quickly and easily and very productively apply your structure for the maximum aesthetic effect. Thank you very much. It's been Terry from Jensen. Be good to each other. Be careful. Wear a mask. Let's get through this COVID thing. And have a great and safe Labor Day, everybody. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.